Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Nip and a Half Fantasy Football Podcast from Fantasy Football Hub. Paul, welcome. How are you, and how was your fantasy weekend?
I am good, thanks, Fergi. I was at the Leith San Siro yesterday to watch the 17th game unbeaten in the league for the mighty
I
Hibs.
saw you were 1-0 up. I didn't see after that. What
Yeah,
happened?
finished 4-0, finished 4-0.
4-0. Goodness me. Good
Yeah,
stuff, mate. Well
like
done.
the old Tony Mowbray. You know Tony
Yeah,
Mowbray,
of
right?
course, yeah.
It's like the old Tony Mowbray days back at Easter Road now. They're brilliant, like unbelievable, and it's the same group of players that we were sat 12th in the league with. But yeah, maybe that's enough about Scottish football for those that are more interested in fantasy. Um, yeah, pretty average-ish week. Not any disasters. The one thing grind was I've got Glasner on the assistant manager in
Yeah, so that.
FPL, and could have been an absolute monster haul, but I can't really grumble about how it played out. They did collapse and City did turn it on, so it's not like I was unlucky in any sense. And yeah,
So how many points he ended up on? Was it 2 points, I think, at the end, was it, for the goals?
yeah,
It would
yeah.
have been at half time, you're looking at like 22, is it? Or more, is it? Would it have been about that?
Yeah, you get the 10 booster on top of 6 for the win, so 18. I think they'd conceded,
Oh,
they
yeah.
definitely had conceded
Yeah.
by that point. So, in fact, was it not 2-2? It was 2-2 at
2
halftime
all.
anyway,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
would have
yeah.
only got the 5 booster on it anyway. But it was more than I say it's more than what I was expecting. That's not necessarily true, but I could have ended up with 0 from the game. I'm pretty happy how it worked out. And not playing a triple captain this week when a lot of people did,
Yeah.
and Isak only getting 5 points so far. I feel relatively fortunate to come out of that situation after yesterday's mauling of Man United.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting midweek. Lots of us have obviously got six players or 5 players and a manager still to play midweek, so it's still sort of wide open, really. Have you got anyone playing this evening in FPL?
I just have Evan Nielsen. It was a toss up between him and Rodgers, and I thought maybe Rodgers would get benched at the weekend, but
Yeah.
only 6 points. I think if you take that, would I play Evan Nielsen at home to Fulham, or would I take Rodgers' 6 points? I'd probably play Evan Nielsen at home to Fulham. I like the upside of it. You could blank, and that's fine. But yeah, Evan Nielsen tonight, and then the 5 plus assistant manager midweek.
How many points are you on for FPL this week?
44 points, so small red arrow as things stand, but not too disheartened. I've got 2 transfers for next week as well.
I messed up a bit, I think, in hindsight. I played Timber over Konza, and I should have. I kind of knew Timber was maybe a potential injury risk, and Konza, I thought, because Konza was rested, wasn't he, last match before the Champions League, so I didn't think the Konza would play, but I should have given a bit more thought that Konza would have probably been, if he didn't play, he would have probably missed out altogether, sort of thing. Whereas Timber was always a risk because he came on
Did
last
come
game.
on. I thought Konza did come on at half
Oh,
time or at some point last week as well. So
maybe that was in my mind. But I played Timber. Obviously, 1 point is really, really frustrating. And I obviously hold him ahead of the double. I would like to think that they were resting him for midweek. He'll play midweek, and then he'll play because they're just so threadbare at the back now, aren't they, Arsenal? I think Zinchenko played he's made his first start. I don't know if it's of the season, but definitely the second half of the season.
he was playing in midfield. He was playing in midfield as well, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. So I think they were resting a few, weren't they, ahead of midweek? So hoping Timber plays in the double. Now I'll obviously have to play him in the double. So yeah, went for him over Konza, which probably cost me 6 points, which is bit silly. Other than that, nothing much going on. Same as everyone else, really. I think played the triple on Isak, so I'm on 48 points. Got Pope, Munoz, Sarr, Murphy, Mateta, and Isak to play again. Isak triple captain, so I'm hoping that Palace defence has gone to the dogs after they're conceding 5 on the weekend, and Isak get a couple.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he's
Get his
back.
back.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's all right. Bench boosting in 33. I've got 3 transfers ahead of the weekend, and then free hit in 34. So I'm still hoping for a decent green this week. a big green next week with the bench boost, and then a bigger green hopefully in 34 as well. So hoping to go into 35 in a fairly decent spot. So you're playing your assistant manager 32 and 33, leaving it on Glasgow in 33.
Yeah, they've got double Arsenal,
Yeah,
Bournemouth at home, and then Arsenal away. And seeing how Arsenal's fielding teams recently, I'm not too disheartened. Albeit they'll have the gap afterwards because they won't be playing the weekend when the FA Cup's on. But yeah, I'm just going to leave on Glasner, and I've got 2 transfers, and then I'm going to have to play bench boosting another another week at some point.
36 probably, is it?
If there's doubles, yeah, is it 35 or 30,
I
36
think it's
doubles and
36,
37
yeah,
blanks?
that's it.
Yeah. So, but teams aren't going to be great, but can only do what you can do. Kind of backed myself into a corner, and this all stems. We talk about kind of sliding doors moments and such like. This all stems from me playing my transfers 5 minutes
I
before the
remember you
double
saying
game
that.
week news, and what were 24 or 25. Otherwise, I would have played the assistant manager then, and I would have probably followed the more traditional
Yeah.
path, and similar to the way that you're playing it just now. I think.
It's crazy how it works, how one thing can alter the whole sort of composition of the season. It happened with me last year with when we had Liverpool double game week announced on the Saturday morning of all things last year, and it completely. I sort of rushed a wild card then and wherever else, and the whole season just sort of capitulated. Yours hasn't capitulated at all, but as you say, it goes a completely different route.
Stagnated for
It goes
that reason.
it goes different route, doesn't it? What are your thoughts ahead of the weekend? Who are you looking to bring in ahead of 33?
I'll probably just play it really, really boring and bring in Saka and Saliba with my 2 frees. And I get a strong 11 out, albeit I'll be playing Evan Nielsen as part of that. Again, I think I could try and get De Bruyne in. I prefer De Bruyne in the other 2 formats, I think, more than I do FPL. Particularly with the volume of transfers you get,
Yeah.
like 2 a week in Dream Team, I think he'd be a good option. We'll obviously get to that. And if you're looking for a massive differential and Telegraph and got a lot of transfers, I think De Bruyne's a good shout in that as well. But based on the fact that I've only got 2 frees and on the basis that Saka's likely to play 2, I prefer bringing in Saka to De Bruyne and FPL, and I've got Gabriel still on purpose, knowing that I would likely move to Saliba from there. So again, boring. I'm unlikely to catch anyone playing those tactics. I just can't think of much other than the
Not a
De
lot
Bruyne
to
move
do. Yeah,
outside the box.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's no sort of massive differentials to chase. I tipped Harvey Barnes on Green Arrow, who was like, I suppose you would class with differential, but Gordon's back now, so even that, not that you'd bring him ahead of 33, but it's very hard to. It almost feels like you'd be picking someone for the sake of it, like like a Martinelli or a Marino. You'd only be picking it because it's a differential, not because you particularly think it's a fantastic option. Whereas
Or you want to hold them afterwards as well.
exactly. Whereas De Bruyne is probably the one who's sort of emerging, right? He is the one who just time. But then if he was benched, you wouldn't be surprised in the slightest, would you? In one of the two, so it really is tough. I think ahead of the weekend, I've got 3 transfers. I'm probably likely to keep Isak. I think got a lot of value tied up in him. He's in fabulous form anyway. So I think I'll probably keep Isak as my 15th player, but I should have, I think, 14 doublers, but
I assume you keep Salah as well.
Oh,
So
sorry,
30.
yes, you're right, Sal. Oh, do you know, maybe even is it Palmer as well? I can't. No, it's not Palmer. It's Palmer to
Saka.
Saka. Yeah, so I should have 13 doublers plus Salah and Isak. And Isak, I'll be keeping him in my free hit in 34 because they've got really good. I think they got. Are they home to? Home to no, home to Ipswich. I think in 34, or something like that. But yeah, he's the one to keep anyway, right? I think, isn't he? Because in my view anyway. So hoping for some real big climbs of his next 2 to 3 weeks. Welcome everyone in the chat. Windy is in. Steve Ricks, Captain Watkins in Dream Team this week. Not a bad return there off the bench. I tell you what a stinking game for triple owners like myself who had Rashford, Asensio, and Rodgers. You can't make it up, can you? Derek Riley is in, says he always watches, but for once he's viewing live. Play all 3 games, but TFF advice is particularly useful. Nice one, Derek. We'll look at TFF in a moment. JC, the main man this season, is in. Malcolm is in, says same, watching. He normally watches after the event, watching live tonight. First time playing TFF this year and sitting 22nd. Well played, Malcolm. What a debut season you're having. And FPL Sparta is in as well. Great to see you all. Shall we touch on TFF next?
Yep.
How was your week this week?
40 points, which gave me a mild green, I think. Can't remember what my rank was before this weekend.
How many? 40 points?
Yeah. I did make one transfer, though. I was very close to bringing Livramento in, and then remembered that you did, and I was like, to spite you, I chose not to do it. I transferred in Murphy instead. So I just had a look at the immediate gains from Forest. I think like there was three for one, and then I look at, even though the FA Cup progressed, the games against City, you kind of expect City to score in that game as well. I like Newcastle's fixtures to the end of the season, so brought in Murphy. But yeah, 40 points. I held on to Gehi as well, so I now have 5 players playing midweek: Isak, Murphy, double Palace defence, and Eze, and so pretty happy with how things are going. And I've got no immediate fires in my team to put out, I don't think, as well. I've got Kerkez playing tonight as well. So yeah, pretty happy. If I was looking at transfers this week, which I'm not in my position, but we obviously mentioned De Bruyne before, and with the price of De Bruyne and the fact that people will be looking for end state just now, they are in the FA Cup, so I really don't mind it if you're chasing. If you're consolidating and you didn't have that many transfers, I probably wouldn't propose doing it, but I think that's a good move. But also, my preference would be to go for Palace players over Newcastle players. I think, just again, if you look at the short term, Palace have got that double next game week, plus they're in the FA Cup. So if you're moving Wednesday, even though Newcastle's a more form side out of the two, I think I would go for Palace players over Newcastle players. And again, if you're looking for immediate gains, Villa are one of the only teams that don't play. They're in the FA Cup still, but they play on the late kickoff on Saturday. So there's you gain the extra fixtures by moving on to Villa players. Now, nailing down which ones are going to play them all is a different question. Maybe Rodgers, and I know that striking spots is at a premium. Maybe Martinez, if I was going for anybody else and just looking for assurance of starts. If you're desperate to get somebody out, Tielemans would possibly be the other one, but that's more consistent stream of points rather than big bang, high ceiling type players.
Yeah, looking at Villa, because they play the 5:30 game, as you said, on Saturday. They've got a 4-1 over certain teams. They've got a 4-1 over Bournemouth, West Ham, Everton, Brighton, Southampton, and Brentford. They've got a 4-2 over most teams, and then they've got a 4-3 over Man City, Wolves, Fulham, and Forest as well. So you're right what you say about Newcastle and Palace, but moving from a Palace option potentially to Newcastle could give you some really good short term rewards, and then maybe hop back off after the Fulham game. Just looking at Man City's fixtures, they're pretty fantastic all the way through the end of the season now, and they seem to have found a bit of something. Looking at the rest of their fixtures now for the whole season, they've got Everton, Villa, Forest in the Cup, then they've got Wolves, then they go Southampton, Bournemouth and Fulham. I think from an attacking view particularly, they are absolutely fantastic fixtures at the end of the season. I think if you haven't mentioned Marmoush, I'm kind of assuming that you think that most got Marmoush anyway, but
Well, I was maybe selfishly thinking my own position and not really owning him. So I was like, well,
I think if you haven't got Marmoush, I think he could, he should be in your crosshairs as a minimum, because those fixtures are probably the best are of everyone actually. Just having a look at till the end of the season, their fixtures are really, really good, and they may have an FA Cup final in there as well. They are the heavy favourites there. I only scored 30 this week. Not much to shout home about. I've still got a few mugs in my team. Gibbs White. I mean, talk about a fall from grace. What's happened to him? He's just he's just a fantastic player. I bring him into my team, and I don't think he's done anything. I think he's got like 1 assist in like 6 games for me or something. Still got Kluivert, but I'll be getting rid of him regardless after the game next Saturday. To Villa player, Newcastle player, something like that. But other than that, just nothing. There's nothing to write home about. Just a poor week. Overall rank, I've done okay. Held rank 888th. Nothing to shout home about. My kind of target is to stay in the top 1k this season. I've got a few mini leagues. I'm still kind of in with a shout with 5 transfers left. In terms of me, I'll be using them. I'll be doing Kluivert to someone next weekend because Bournemouth play in the 3:00 game, so I'll be moving them on after that. And then I'll be waiting then until the FA Cup, I think, is kind of either on the FA Cup weekend or just afterwards, using a couple of transfers to pivot to teams then, and then maybe leaving 1 or 2 left over. But yeah, it's just been a frustrating few weeks in Telegraph. Just looking, my highest scoring player this weekend was Marmoush with 7, and then just 5 for Isak, 5 for Salah, and then the rest just absolute rubbish. Just found it hard all season to really capitalize on TFF. It just feels like I don't know if you felt this, but we haven't had many results where when you jump on a team because they start on a 4-for-1, for example. In the past, we've had teams like Man City have had like a 4-for-1, say, and then they'll go and win 4-0, and you get like the 3 of the goal scorers, 3 of the assists, and like 3 clean sheets, for example, and you just go boom, boom, boom. It just feels this time round, maybe aside from Newcastle last Monday when obviously they beat Leicester 3-0 away, and maybe Palace in the FA Cup when they won 2-0. Yeah. But I can't think of many times where we've jumped on teams this season right at the start of a good run, and they just haven't done it. And I don't know whether it's because we're talking about the sort of second tier teams where their results are a lot more unpredictable than maybe the Man Cities of the past, but it just doesn't seem to have kicked off this time around. Have you felt that as well, or is it just me?
Yeah, no, I think having that, I think there's a few things in there as well, like with the teams in general haven't been like. Arsenal's had injuries and haven't went on the run themselves. There has been a few opportunities that you could have jumped on Arsenal players, and budget's not that important this season. And
crazy,
Telegraph is right because, especially the timing of injuries with Haaland being out and
Saka was out for months.
Saka being out as well. So yeah, I totally agree. There's a couple of instances where I've jumped on, but to your point, they've been on some of the lesser teams or the teams that had good form, but just their form's massively dipped, like in Bournemouth,
prime example. Bournemouth. Absolutely.
Yeah, so definitely agree. It's been a tough slog in Telegraph at some points this season, but I can't really complain about my own season too much. I'm sitting 72nd overall, and I've got four teams that are sat there as well, but I have got very few transfers now, so I really need Crystal Palace to knock Villa out of the FA Cup to have any chance of having a strong season to the point where I could kick on from here. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's been a war. I feel it's been a war of attrition. But then there are a lot of people who have done incredibly well. Viney's in the chat. He's 12th. He was, he was 10th. And I know there's a lot of people in the hub chat who were like, in the top 100. I think we have or had the overall leader in there, Dan Cox, having a stormer. There's lots of people who are doing so well as well. So, but yeah, I kind of look back. We'll have a bit of a review potentially at the end of the season. But I missed out on. I think it was Palmer. He went on that crazy run and didn't have him, and there's a few other maybe slow to get on the Forest defence. I think last year it was the Newcastle defence, slow to get on them, and on the year when Leicester went crazy, I just I think I've got this bias of playing over the years where it's like, no, they won't keep her up. They won't keep her up. I think that's my kind of
like Forest defence.
Forest defence season is a prime example where I just thought there's no way they'll keep it going. And they just have. And those who had the foresight or took the risk to go, no, we'll go for it, have just absolutely smashed it, haven't they? So, yeah, maybe that's a learning for me for next season, is to maybe be a bit more open-minded to, football has changed, and and the fantasy trends that maybe I need to be a bit quicker to adapt to new trends in the Premier League, new trends in fantasy potentially. But yeah,
well, Telegraph used to be when we used to do the pod with Luke Wilson and with Carl as well. Like 5-3-2 with the premium defenders.
Absolutely.
Used to be always be the one, right? Like maybe double Arsenal, double Liverpool. Back when Chelsea were more solid and City, like, so you pick maybe you'd have one budget enabler in there with kind of 4 or 5 premiums, but it's just not the case anymore.
No. JC asks, when do you think you'll split your team, if at all, Paul, in TFF?
I play in cash leagues across the piece, and I feel like I only have enough brain power to manage like one team really in 4. I think if I was going for like top spot, or I was in a chance of an overall prize, I would change it up. But I'm probably going to sit with the same teams across the piece. I don't think I've got any. Just with my very few transfers left, I don't think I've got any chance of even breaking the top 20 from where I am. So I'm pretty comfortable with what I'm doing.
You sound like the Paul the season before you won Sky, when you were like at 30th for like the whole season, and you were like, very happy at 30th, I'm very happy at 30th, and then you went on next year and won it. So yeah, big things ahead for Mr. McNulty next season. Evening. Dave Hannigan says, sorry lads, late to the party. Indeed, Dave is normally in nice and early. Hope you enjoyed your tea, Dave. Shall we have a look at Dream Team? You've had a decent week again. I think you're beating me in all formats this week. I think you'll be coming down to Barry Island.
You're beating me in FPL.
But, you've got Evan Nielsen to play, haven't you? Which and you just want.
And the only reason I know that I'm beating you in Dream Team is because I looked at our tag team league before coming online. Yeah, I've got 54 points for the week.
Oh, wow.
So I brought in Rodgers and Isak, Captain Isak, which was a very popular move. I was debating on Rodgers whether to bring him in or not. I'd sent you a message. I was thinking about bringing in Eze, and I'm not even. That there's 2 points difference, and that could be further apart midweek. But after last week playing punty in my position to go Rashford over Rodgers when I could have done it, and it costed me quite big, I wanted to play it a bit more safe with my moves this week for my own sanity. So I'm happy how that worked out. The real star for me has been Konza. Like, I brought him in another 10-pointer at the weekend. He's worked out really well. So yeah, 54 points for the week so far.
Very good. I brought in Saliba and Isak, so I took Salah out, which I think was the right. I still think it's the right thing to do this week, even though Rashford Rashford got the start. It was Rashford against Salah for me. So I think on paper, the move was right. Still, Rashford will probably get a few minutes on Wednesday as well. So he's only 4 behind Salah, but Salah does obviously have Leicester and Spurs coming up, single game weeks, but they are 2 fixtures which he could do incredibly well. He just still doesn't quite look on it still. I think he had 1 shot on target, did he, on the weekend?
None.
Oh, none. I thought he had 1 for some reason. But yeah, he's just, he just hasn't looked himself, has he? I went for Saliba over Konza. Maybe
It's a better long term. It's a better long term move.
And that's why I did it, because obviously it looks like Arsenal are going to go through, whereas it looks like Villa are going to go out, and I didn't want 4 Villa players to have to shift on in 2 weeks' time, in addition to anyone else I wanted to shift on as well. So I try to keep my team reasonably balanced, which tends to cost me in the short term, but then I do find that my team sort of pivots back. Then I have these big drops and then these fairly big rises. So I dropped a bit this week going for Saliba. But yeah, I expect Arsenal to go through, Villa to go out. I think, expect Chelsea to go through, obviously being, were they 3-0 up, I want to say, or was it 2-0? I can't remember now, but expect Chelsea to go through, and Spurs and United are both on a knife edge, aren't they? So yeah, it's going to be an interesting few weeks.
You've got Asensio, yeah?
Yeah, unbelievable.
It was
make it up, can you? It's just
so I was what I've seen that he missed the first penalty, and then I tuned into Sky Sports News right at the very end. I don't often watch Sky Sports News. I tuned in right at the very end, and I saw that McGinn scored, and I just heard Asensio, and I was like, "Oh, brilliant, he's got an assist." And then I look at the app, and he's got the assist, and I was like, "Yes." And then it didn't there's all 2 dreadful penalties though. Well, as far as on target penalties go, just right at nice easy height for the keeper. Yeah.
Nothing.
What are you got any loose thoughts next week?
I'm not sure. I was looking at the fixtures. Let's see if I can get them up again. Actually, I try and look 2 to 3 weeks in advance. I'm tempted by. I was thinking of going straight back to Salah, but I'm not sure to go for Marmoush instead. For the double. That's one. I'll keep all my Villa players as they all double. I'll keep Munoz this week. Arsenal, I've got a triple up on Arsenal, obviously, which is nice.
So who I'll rephrase the question. Who are you thinking of taking out rather than bringing in them? Isak, is he on the chopping block on the basic?
I think so. Yeah, hang on. Let's have a look, mate. Sorry.
They're at home. They're at home at Ipswich the week after. And
yeah, but Ipswich are decent. I know Ipswich get the odd hammer in, but I just don't think you can go for what. I don't think you can keep one player for this one game in the future. I think I've been guilty of it in the past. Of doing that. He's clearly not fit either, and I know they're gonna have a break soon and stuff, but you're not going to captain him because
it's true.
Others are doubling. You can go for someone like Marmoush. So I'm going to probably move on. I'll obviously be keeping Palmer. Even though he hasn't been great, he still scores well when he does something. I think what do you have 6 points this week for just for just an assist. So he still scores well. He only needs that little turn of form and he'll do fine. I think Bruno is more of a keep than Isak if they go out of Europe as well. So probably Marmoush will be my number one. I'm saying this off the. I'm kind of ad-libbing. Probably go Marmoush. May be the best captaincy option next week. May look at De Bruyne as a punt, but then again, I don't want to put myself into a position where the week after I want to take out. All of a sudden, I want to take out five players, right? So I need to give us some thoughts. So at the moment, I'm probably thinking Isak to either Salah or Marmoush. That's all I've really thought about. A lot depends on what happens in Europe. Porro the same, right? He's just so frustrating. Neither him or you, Doggy,
I'm
played on that
surprised he got
game.
no. I'm surprised he got no minutes yesterday. I mean, I wasn't
Neither did you,
overly
Doggy.
surprised.
It
He
was
didn't.
it was it was Archie Gray played. He played and
Yeah.
got 90 minutes, and Ben Davis.
Well, the doggy, I would have thought like wrap him a bit in cotton wool based on like coming back from injury, but I would have expected Porro to get some minutes. But yeah, you're right. You're right. A couple other shouts for next week. I think Declan Rice.
Good shout.
I think on the assumption
Yep,
that
very good shout.
Arsenal, you've already got on, but for those that don't have Saliba, including myself, I think if you were thinking what your future self would like you to do, setting up with Arsenal players might be sensible based on what's going to happen midweek.
Just looking as well, actually, I believe that the European teams are going to play in game week 33. So Arsenal
Yeah,
currently blank in there. So
one.
it looks like Chelsea, again, just if anyone was thinking of getting rid of Palmer, for example, who only got the single next week, he'll probably be the best captaincy option the week after because he'll have a home game against Everton
Yeah,
and a European thing. So I'd just be a bit careful about that because obviously none of the planners show those games because obviously the teams are not through. But I think you want to look at it as in, it's fair to say probably Arsenal and Chelsea are going to go through. The rest, Villa will probably go out. So I think you should probably look at that one week against Palace away as a, as a single, and then they'll play singles after that as well, which is why I don't want four Villa players. And United and Spurs, we obviously get the benefit of seeing them play on Thursday and their results before we can make decisions on maybe Bruno, maybe Porro, and others as well. So they're my loosest thoughts. I think Marmoush could potentially be a decent hold. As I mentioned earlier, their fixtures are really good all the way through. But thinking about it as well, actually, yeah, just looking on that Saturday, Palmer, regardless of his form, is likely to be the most captain player, I think, that week in game week 33. Whereas Salah's home to Spurs. I was thinking, actually, if you look at it as a single game week, probably that is the best fixture. But you're not going to captain Salah next week. You're not going to captain him the week after either. So even if he does get a goal, 7, 9, 10, 11 points, I don't think it's the end of the world when you can have two very average games from other players. They may score 5 in one, 6 in the other, So anyway, sorry, just thinking out loud, really. What are your thoughts over the coming weeks?
yes, like I do want to on the assumption, right? So regardless of Spurs, like I'm almost ruling out getting any Spurs players. I mean, would I change my mind at some point potentially? And Man United outside of Bruno, I actually think that Dorgu scores well and might contemplate him at some point in time
Yeah.
potentially, but certainly not on my immediate
Hmm.
radar. So I'm looking similar to how you're playing, and hence why I think it's unlikely that I'll ditch Palmer on that basis as well. Isaac, I'm 50-50 on. I'm in a slightly different position to you in that I kept Salah over
Yeah,
Rashford.
yeah.
So I don't have as many. Sorry, I do have the same amount of Villa players next week. So yeah, Marmoush definitely on my thoughts. De Bruyne maybe a defensive player potentially, and I said Rice is a good punt there. Whether I've got space for him in my midfield is
Midfield
probably
stacked at the
the
moment, isn't it? It's really tough.
yeah.
You're right. But then that will free up when Villa frees up. It'll free. I can see a world now where we're come game week 33 going into 34. We're probably going to have, rightly or wrongly, 3 to 4 Chelsea players because they're going to be one of potentially one of only 2 teams left in Europe.
Yeah.
With a very realistic chance of doing well in Europe as well. So yeah, it's always having that thing in mind of where we're going to be in 2 or 3 weeks' time, and Spurs are away. I think they'll find it hard to go through. United at home. United fixtures are better as well than Spurs in the short term anyway. And Bruno's just a machine anyway, so I can't see me taking up Bruno for a while. But Chelsea could be one of only 2 teams that are doubling almost every week towards the end of the season. You're going to want to capitalise on that with, we'll have Cucurella's and Jacksons and Palmers.
Jackson doesn't like. Yeah, I think Jackson would be higher on my agenda if I don't think he looks fit since he came back.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. How is the ultimate leaderboard looking this evening?
You are in 12th, which I think you were maybe in that position last week as well.
Yeah, very stagnant week for me.
Top 10, Ben Lee in 10th, Carl Weeks in 9th, Ian Parran in 8th. I think Ian's had a jump, unless I'm mistaken. Alad Wilcox in 7th, Dale Pointer in 6th. I'm currently sitting in 5th. Darren Malloy in 4th, Gavin Shirley in 3rd, Tom Gledhill in 2nd, and then Johnny Curry way out in front in 1st. I say that Tom Gledhill has got a nice ground made up between himself and Gavin Shirley as well.
Looks at the moment, mate, like you'll be visiting Barry Island again. as it goes at the moment. It's going to need something pretty emphatic, and I don't think it's going to be in TFF. I'm going to have I just got to hope that my bench boost 33 can gain me 15 places on you, which is incredibly unlikely. So I
mean, I love Edinburgh, but Barry's like a second home to me now. So
up to you now, isn't it? Yeah, looking like I can't see it on my screen, but what's our mini league averages? I think you were about 4 points ahead of me on the mini league averages.
Exactly, yeah. I'm 12.7 and you're 16.7.
Yeah.
And you can't make up any ground in Dream Team. You can only hope that I drop off. So the areas which you can improve on, I guess, well, obviously the other 2, Telegraph and FPL.
Yeah, you're not going to drop off massively in Telegraph, and even if you do, I will, because we've got similar teams and similar transfer counts. FPL, really, yeah. I think unless you make some real rogue move, like you took out Rodri last season in Sky, which bollocks your season, or something along those, some of that ilk, or you make some rogue captaincy shout. I think yours will take him, but yeah, well played.
I'm not anywhere close. The problem is in FPL, I'm nowhere close to prize positions in like any leagues.
So you're going to have to take some risks.
No, well, the opposite really. Like,
come on.
I don't think it matters.
Sod. So what?
Yeah,
so you're just going to
play it out. As you well know, at 7-a-sides, if my team was 1 goal up towards the end of the game, I would walk the ball into the corner so that they couldn't get the ball back. On a friendly game on a cold Thursday night, no league, anything, just that game in isolation, I would walk the ball into the corner and not let them get the ball out.
Your fiance's a lucky girl, mate, let me tell you. Okay, good stuff, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it, as usual. And we'll be back next week, I think. Can't think why not.
I'm on a stag do, but I'm back on Sunday rather than Monday.
You're back on Sunday rather than Monday. Okay, we'll work on Sunday. Yeah, but thanks for joining us, everyone, and best of luck for the week, and we will see you next week. Good night, all.